11 years later. Mom. Dad. Ism still here? You are listening at FameTV.info. She'll go with me. Her mom held her little fist as she threw the signed divorce papers on her dad's face. Noah walked out of her home sweet home, holding her hands with her mom, without looking back. 11 years later, Noah was sitting at her study table, contemplating what had gone wrong back then. She was just 5, too small to understand what happened back then. She snapped out of her daze when she heard her mom's call, "Noah. Get ready or else you'll miss the school bus." She silently stood up, flinged her school bag over her shoulder, headed for the bus stop. School. Noah entered the school grounds when a certain pair of specs greeted her. "Hey, mindless wanderer." She smiled weakly at her best friend who was jumping around her, Lula. "Ah. That's like my girl." She hooked her arms, pulled her through the crowd. Their school life was simple without any bout of adventure. Everything they did was for passing the time. Study was their only goal. No wonder, Noah was the topper of her class. Lula knew it well that today was the day when her parents separated. More like a doomsday for Noah. Lula and Noah had stuck to each other since they're in diapers. The school operated like any other schools in the world. 7 periods of study. 2 breaks between them, one of which of course, was the lunch break. Noah had a gang of buddies, which included Lula. The other 3 were Luke, a shy boy, Tinker, a bubbly girl, Tim, an athlete. Not to mention, Lula, who was a studious chatterbox. The school ended with nothing better to do. Noah walked out of the school, accompanied by her gang of buddies. As usual, they bade goodbyes at the railway crossing. When Noah was about to walk across the street, a car made a sharp plunge into her. Scrach, Noah felt like she was floating on clouds. No matter how much she tried, she found it difficult to open her eyes. She was unconscious, she knew it. But, she slowly felt her subconsciousness dripping away too. Crazy dreams began flying across her eyes. She dreamt of her 5th birthday. Her parents kissing her on each cheek. Colorful, colors, rainbows filled her vision. Butterflies were soaring around her. Birds were chirping. Winds were whistling. She tried to grab them, but all in vain. Her fingers were brushing against the soft petals flying around her. Nature covered everything, as far as the eyes could see. Birds, petals, colors floated here and there. It felt so easy for her to catch them, but they always appeared far away. Once she held out her hands, the world around her started swaying. All the birds, butterflies, flowers began swirling around her like a tornado. She found it hard to stand alone in her own accord. Finally, her mind drifted into another world. A world without a single sign of life in it. What's going on? What was happening to her? Did the final flutter of her heart die a terrible death? Was she on her way to heaven or hell? Numerous questions flooded her mind. Slowly, she opened her eyes and warm sunlight invaded her fluttering eyelashes. She found herself in her own bedroom. Own bedroom, but in her home sweet home, huh? How did she end up here? Was she not hit by a car? Was she dreaming all along? She quickly sat up. No, she didn't feel any pain. She was perfectly okay. She was fine. So, that was just a bad dream. Ah. My baby woke up by herself. Her mom barged into her room. Mom. I told you to knock when you enter my room. She narrowed her eyes. What's wrong, my baby? Her mom picked her up gently. Huh? Did some magic potion made her lose some weight? Was she so light that her mom was now taking her in her arms? Listen to the full novel at FameTV.info, direct link in the description.